Mr. Gilchrist, I don't believe we can hear you. Still can't hear you, sir. There you go.
You can hear me now?
Barely.
Barely.
Let me do something else here.
There you go.
That's better.
Okay, that's better.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
Okay. I don't know why I'm seeing the little yellow box here, and it's in and out, so I'm not sure what's going on. So I'll try to conduct the meeting, and if we go out, y'all just let me know, and we'll try to figure out something else.
Okay.
Mr. Price, is the staff ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal, good deal. Well, let me call then the February 1st Planning Commission meeting to order. Please allow me to read this into the record in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. A copy of the agenda was posted on our bulletin board in the County Administration Office, sent to radio stations, TV stations, and newspapers, and persons requesting notification on the county bulletin board. So we certainly appreciate all of you joining us here today and the public joining us in our first meeting of 2021? Is that right?
Yes.
For all of you who have not had the opportunity and pleasure to say Happy New Year, I can't even believe that we're already almost in the first quarter of 2021. It's amazing with all that's going on. But I want to thank you again for your commitment to our Planning Commission, and we look forward to conducting the public's business here on this February 1st day. The first item on our agenda today is the election of officers. And let me just say that before we get into this, that I certainly have appreciated the opportunity to serve as your chairman. This has not certainly gone without recognizing that you can't be a good chairman unless you have good people that help to support what you're doing. And I recognize that. And we have an awesome team of commissioners that do what you need to do to ensure that we're supporting the people here in this county. And you certainly supported my administration, whatever that looks like and means over the last few years. So I want to thank you, and I certainly want to thank my right hand, Commissioner Carnes, for being there to make sure that I stay on track with the Planning Commission meetings. So, I just want to put that out there and say to you that as we continue to move forward, there are a lot of great things that this county will be undertaking here with regards to the Planning Commission on the code rewrite and other things that is going to require us to continue to have a laser focus on what's important to the county. And so with that being said, I look forward to receiving nominations from the floor, and we will go from there. So at this time, election of officers, item number 3, Chair will entertain motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Frierson. One correction, you said that you were a good officer. No, you and Heather were great leaders, and we greatly appreciate it. At our December meeting, I indicated my interest in seeking leadership, but as I thought about it, you were correct about we have so many major challenges before us. We're in the middle of a rewrite, and I think it's crucial that we maintain continuity of leadership at this time. That being said, I place in nomination the name of Stephen Gilchrist as our next chairperson.
Okay, that's one nomination on the floor. Are there others?
Chairman?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Dennis.
Yes, sir. I agree that we do need continuity. However, you're not going away anytime soon, but your time on the Planning Commission is coming up from my understanding. And I think looking forward, I would like to nominate Jason Branham as chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Dennis. So that's 2 nominations on the floor. Are there any others? Okay, then we will close the floor and ask for a vote. So all in favor signify by that Stephen Gilchrist will be the new chairman, please, or the continuous chairman. Please signify by, I guess we can raise our hands. Gio, is that right?
Oh, I think it'd still be better to do the roll call.
Okay, roll call vote.
Okay. This is a motion for Stephen Gilchrist for chair. Stephen Gilchrist,
Aye.
Heather Carnes,
Aye.
Christopher Yonke,
Nay.
Matura Carlisle,
Mr. Carlisle, are you there? Are you on mute?
Mr. Carlisle is shown to be in attendance. However, don't see any indication of a microphone.
Okay.
So I'll continue on. Gary Dennis,
Nay.
Brian Grady,
Aye.
Terrence Taylor,
Aye.
Jason Branham,
Nay.
Beverly Frierson,
Aye.
and still don't have anything from Mr. Carlisle. However, at this point, we have in favor 5 and against 3. So Mr. Gilchrist,
Mr. Price, can we just to make sure that we calculate Mr. Carlisle's vote, is there a way we can reach out to him?
Did he call Heather?
He may not know that he does not have a microphone showing.
I will attempt to reach out to him.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we have everybody coded right here.
I was unable to make contact with him.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I guess we'll go ahead and go through the motion for Jason Branham. Stephen Gilchrist,
Nay.
Heather Carnes,
Nay.
Christopher Yonke,
Aye.
Mr. Carlisle, again, we're having some difficulties getting him. Gary Dennis,
Aye.
Brian Grady,
Nay.
Terrence Taylor,
Nay.
Jason Branham,
Aye.
Beverly Frierson,
So you're on mute.
Ms. Frierson.
Apologize. Nay for Branham.
Okay. That'll be 3 votes for and 5 against for Jason Branham.
Well, thank you, Mr. Price, for us. And let me thank all of the commissioners again for allowing me to serve as your chairman again, and I look forward to serving out my term and preparing to hand the mantle over to our next chairman when that time comes. Mr. Price, we now have to elect the vice chair. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I do have a question though.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dennis.
Yes, I know you said when your term's over. I thought the term ended in April of 2021, so that leaves us 2 to 3 months. And then are we re-voting again if you are off the commission? Because it was my understanding that you had reached your term and you had to go off for a time bit before you could come back onto the commission.
My term is up in April. Is that right, Mr. Price? And it usually takes council some time to make a decision about whether or not they want to reappoint a member to the commission. And so what's happened in the past, Mr. Dennis, is we've elected officers not based upon when their term is going to end. It's been the fact that we would elect an officer. And so there may have been some confusion about that, but Mr. Price can certainly shed some light on that. And one of the things that I want to put on your radar screen today is a conversation about us potentially amending our rules to look at that as we get close to someone's time, particularly if we have a chair that's currently serving, whether or not we should allow ourselves to amend our own rules to address a transition of leadership at that time. But Mr. Price, would you weigh in on that, please?
Yes, sir. As Mr. Dennis stated correctly, that the terms for both Stephen Gilchrist and Heather Carnes, they do expire as of April. However, until someone is appointed to those positions by council, then they will continue to serve. And just based on the last couple of vacancies we've had, it has taken quite a while for council to appoint those positions. So this could be something that could go on, anywhere from the next month or two, from May until maybe the end of the year, maybe even going into next year, because the way council, the way they do their, oops, sorry about that.
That's good.
Yeah.
We like
Yes, what council would do is they take applications for any vacancy for any board or commission that's in need of someone to be appointed. And they will schedule at their Rules and Appointments Committee interviews with each of those applicants. And again, we're talking about not just the Planning Commission, we're talking about all boards and commissions. And they will make sure that until they have interviewed everyone that has applied for that position, they will not appoint someone. So again, just kind of from a historical standpoint, this can go on for quite a while before a new member is appointed back to the Planning Commission.
And may I add also, Mr. Dennis, when my term expired, the committee that did the interviews started the process for interviewing those who had applied for the Planning Commission. Then they stopped, and then there was a lapse, and then they continued again. So as Mr. Price correctly stated, the time period can be several months, unfortunately.
I'm well aware of the time period. However, amending rules just to fit our agenda is not the way we should do things here in Richland County. If Mr. Gilchrist does get replaced, let's say this new county council is on top of things more than the old county council, and they replace him and Heather, and let's say by August, well, now we don't have any turnover, and it's just a flat out swap and go. And I don't think that's how things should be done. If we're looking at it for the year, somebody should at least have that for that whole year, not just for a few months. I really want to err on the side of caution on this, because I really looked at the rules and done a lot of digging for this, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think that we really need to look forward to the future. And I think setting up a successful new chair and a successful vice chair with the current chair and vice chair that we have to do a great turnover. If they don't seek to come back on this board, or we can't get the rules amended, then we're caught with our pants down, per se. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, Mr. Dennis, I agree with you. If in fact you have commissioners that may not have any interest in serving another term,
Down the zone.
Excuse me, Mr. Gilchrist, you've gone out. We were having a little trouble hearing you.
No,
No, sir.
The sound just went out on its own.
Yeah, we were unable to hear your last comments, Mr. Gilchrist.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you're going in and out, but we can hear you a little bit.
I may have to come back in on another device because
it's Stephen, your voice is incomprehensible.
I'm gonna have to come back in on a device. Mr. Price, can you let everyone know that I will come back in on another device, please?
Okay.
Building off the questions, I was also under the impression that his term limit was set to end when we were talking about this in December. I thought he was on his second time around.
Yeah, I think that's correct, but there is still just this bizarre phenomenon that until we're replaced, we continue to serve. And it's just the it is common, and it'll probably be quite a few months after April before we're replaced. Although I suppose it is possible that the new council moves on these things quicker, but historically, that's exactly what's happened.
So Heather,
Yes.
I'm just treating you're presiding right now.
Okay.
This is off. And I think, like, theoretically, there's no question that you and Stephen are both eligible to be elected officers right now. I guess mechanically, maybe you could speak to it with your experience. You've got a lot of tenure on the commission. How does that transition of power occur if both officers are term limited out at the same time? Replacements are found in between planning commission meetings. And so, you finish one meeting with both officers in place, but before the next meeting happens, both officers are gone from the commission. How does that meeting even start up? I guess it's just like whoever's left has to pick a temporary presiding officer to then conduct an election for new officers. Have you seen that happen?
I'm pretty sure that the timing of how these things occur, that you wouldn't have both of us preside at a meeting with no knowledge that it's our last meeting. And I think you would just elect new officers at the next meeting if that somehow happened. But
So you would expect a heads up that would happen at least before your last commission meeting.
yeah. Yeah. And it is just, with this code rewrite going on, that's such a big undertaking. So that was why this, the sense of just keeping leadership in place made sense. But I have no expectation in life that come April, that's my last meeting.
Yeah. And I'm not here to argue anything. It's just a matter of trying to get a little bit more context and seeking out that insight as far as how this scenario might have played out in the past. I don't even know that it has happened. Maybe it has. I'm not familiar enough for enough years to have seen both officers maxing out their terms at the same time. And I almost in a way, I wish county council would provide some sort of assurance that both of you would not have your last meeting occur at the same time.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank
We
you.
lost your mug, but we got your voice.
Okay, all right. I'll try to get the mug back on here in a minute.
The voice is pretty great.
Thanks, man. Well, Mr. Branham, I heard your comments, and I certainly would agree with you. Heather, let me ask you a question. How many terms have you served on the planning commission?
Oh, I have no idea. A lot.
But it's,
when I started, I finished an unexpired term, so that didn't count. And then I think I did 2 terms, and when I hit the end of my second term, council had changed the rule about that you could stay on. So I think this is like my 3rd full term. So I mean, it's been like 15 years. And it wasn't really something I sought out to do. But I think they've changed it back now to where you can't, they are forcing you out after 2 terms, which I support as a fundamental rule for sure.
Sure.
I just, I think when I stayed on after the 2nd full term, there was a lot of staff that was asking me to stick around. And I think part of it's because we knew this code rewrite was coming. So I, agreed to stay on. Did not expect to have this go my entire legal career.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I've been on a long time.
Okay.
And I do know that I'm pretty sure that we've had the chair position open up before mid-year.
Yeah, we have.
And it's been no big deal to appoint a new chair. So
You still had a continuing vice chair?
I suppose, but I mean, all I can recall is that, when we got to a meeting without a chair, the first thing we did was elect a chair.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be, even if both of us somehow did disappear in between meetings, the first thing y'all would do at the next meeting would be to appoint a chair and a vice chair.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really do anything as chair people between meetings that is distinct to being a chairperson. I'm not gonna say we don't do anything,
Right.
but
Yeah. I'm not here to belabor any point or anything. And
I think that's, I think the fact that, yeah, it is true that as our roles as chair have really no bearing between meetings. It's really about just helping to run the meeting. I mean, do you disagree, Steve? Does that sound right, Stephen?
I totally agree. And helping to formulate the agenda when asked to do so, but 90% of it is just actually conducting the meeting.
It's conducting the meetings. That's really where our positions come into play.
Yeah.
So that's why, yeah, if you started a meeting with no chair or vice chair, just let them and off you go.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. It is
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Price.
23. I understand that some of the new people needed this information. It's been interesting, but could we perhaps continue with the meeting?
Absolutely. We now have on the agenda and the election of our vice chair, and the chair will entertain a motion for vice chairman.
I'll nominate Gary Dennis, kind of for some of the same reasons that we've already reviewed, just in a desire to create a smooth transition for leadership. And I believe Gary's qualified to do that and has the level of commitment requisite to fill that role. And that is by no means a slight to Ms. Carnes.
Oh, no, not at all. I'll nominate Heather Carnes. Ms. Carnes has obviously served with distinction for the last few years as the vice chair, and has certainly been has brought a wealth of knowledge. No spite to my friend Gary Dennis, but to just maintain some continuity through the process, we'll nominate Ms. Carnes. Any additional nominations for the floor?
Mr. Chair, move the nominations come to a close on the said names.
Chair moves for the nominations come to a close. Yes. Ready for a roll call vote, Ms. Price?
Okay, this will be the nomination for Gary Dennis for vice chair. Stephen Gilchrist,
Nay.
Heather Carnes,
Nay.
Christopher Yonke.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Carlisle is not on. Gary Dennis,
Hey,
I'm sorry, what was that vote again, Mr. Dennis?
aye.
Brian Grady,
Nay.
Terrence Taylor,
Nay.
Jason Branham,
Aye.
Beverly Frierson.
Nay.
Okay, we have 3 votes for Mr. Dennis and 5 against.
Okay, that motion failed. So, or it didn't fail, but we move on to the next vote.
All right, this will be for Heather Carnes for vice chair. Stephen Gilchrist,
Aye.
Heather Carnes,
Aye.
Christopher Yankee,
Aye.
Matura Carlisle, that's right. Gary Dennis,
Nay.
Brian Grady,
Aye.
Terrence Taylor,
Aye.
Jason Branham,
Nay.
and Beverly Frierson.
Aye.
Okay, if I'm correct, we have down that 6-3.
2.
62, excuse me, 62.
Yeah, 6.
6-2. Okay. And the motion carried. Congratulations, Ms. Carnes. Welcome back as vice chair. And now we have to elect the secretary, Mr. Price.
No, sir. Normally, staff
Okay.
has served as the secretary for the planning commission over the years.
Okay. Well, again, to our fellow commissioners, we thank you for your consent to allow us to serve for the additional time as your chair and vice chair. And we look forward to continuing to work with our commission. So thank you again for your support. Moving right along on the consent agenda, item number 4.
In terms of the consent agenda, we do need to make an amendment. Is it of the map amendments? There are 7. I believe that the only one that is going to remain on the consent agenda is item number 4, case 20-044, Capers Avenue. So unless a commission member wishes to have discussion on that case, I would make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, removing case number 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 for discussion.
Okay. Is there a second on the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second that we amend the consent agenda as amended. All in favor signify by a roll call vote.
Okay, Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Aye.
Yankee,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Branham,
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries a unanimous vote. We'll move right along to our first case.
Okay. Our first case first item is case 20-041 MA. The applicant is Josine Alizada. Hopefully I'm saying that somewhere near correct. The location is 4501 Sheraton Road. The applicant is asking to rezone a parcel a little more than 1/3 of an acre from RSHD, which is residential single family high density, to NC neighborhood commercial. Staff recommends disapproval of this request because based on the comprehensive plan, the subject property is located within a conservation future land use designation. And again, per the comprehensive plan, commercial development is discouraged within these areas, except for limited low impact development and uses.
Okay, are there any questions for the staff on this case?
Well,
Mr. Price, do we have any person? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Carnes.
no, you can go on.
Okay. Mr. Price, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this case?
Yes, we do. Mr. DeLage will read those comments into the record.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. DeLage.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So our first comment is from the applicant. And again, I apologize if I mess anyone's name up. Hussein Alizea. And it says, Dear Planning Commission members, this letter is to request to rezone my property located at the 4501 Sheraton Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29209, tax map number 13416-02-01 from RSHD to retail. I am confident that my request for rezoning to a community general retail grocery store with healthy quality food, beverages, and organic juices will help the entire community and their health of residents within walking distance. Our customers will most likely bring with them healthy disposable income. In conclusion, I urge you to vote yes on this project. It is the kind of redevelopment that is good for the neighborhood and good for the city of Columbia economy. Sincerely, Hossein Alizea, and I apologize again for butchering that last name. And then that is it for those in approval. Then we have some opposition statements.
Okay.
So let's see here. This is from Senator Daryl Jackson. It says, to whom it may concern, it has been brought to my attention that the property located at 4501 Sheraton Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29209 is being considered for rezoning as a commercial property. This neighborhood is very dear to my family and myself. I am concerned about the elderly residents, most who have been residents for over 50 years. I, along with the residents, do not want to change the fabric of this neighborhood. I respectfully request that you consider the many families that may be affected by this and consider my opposition to this rezoning. If you would like to discuss this issue further, please feel free to contact me. With kindest personal regards, Senator Daryl Jackson. And then, all right, our second opposition letter is from, my apologies, from Green Elijah and Lillian Survivorship. I apologize, that might actually be from, yep, that's it. So it says, Honorable Commissioners, we are writing this letter hoping it will help make a decision to deny all requests to rezone the 4501 Sheraton Road property from RSHD to NC. We are owners who live across from this property. We are over 80 years old. We have lived here over 52 years with no problems. We would like to live here in peace for the remainder of our lives here. Rezoning this property to NC will cause lots of unforeseen problems. Our understanding is that the owners want to establish a convenience store or some type of business on the property that would include the sale of alcohol. Such a store would invite many strange and unnecessary traffic into the neighborhood of quiet and peaceful elderly people. As older restaurant or residents, we would live in fear of the unpredictable and possibly unseemly behavior that a convenience store would invite. Let's see. In conclusion, we are asking your help to keep our homes and neighborhood quiet, clean, conductive, and comfortable living. We ask you to keep our entire area zoned RSHD, Elijah and Lillian Green. All right. And then we have a letter from Roger Leaks, and that is Eastway Park Neighborhood Association, 45119 Rodney Drive, Columbia, South Carolina, 29209. It says, Honorable Commissioners, I am our neighborhood president, and I am writing this letter hoping it will influence you to deny all requests to rezone the property located at 4501 Sheraton Road from RSHD to NC. The overview is that 4501 Sheraton Road is located within the boundaries of the Eastway Park subdivision. Eastway Park is bounded on the east by Bluff Road, on the north by a small stream, and Woodlands, on the south by Woodlands, and on the west by Woodlands and a 50-foot cliff. The development of Eastway Park began in 1963 and was completed in 1970. Most of us living in Eastway Park have made our homes here for the last 50 plus years. The neighborhood has been very stable, quiet, and safe since the beginning. We have worked hard to protect the value and beauty of our investments. However, during the last 8 to 10 years, about 25% of the original owners have died, and their children have either sold or rented their parents' home to people who don't care anything about the integrity, the beauty, or the upkeep of the neighborhood. This alone saddens us, who are now in our 70s and 80s and 90s. We are too old to move. We're living on fixed incomes, but our homes are paid for. We're asking you to keep our surroundings quiet, clean, conducive to comfortable living and zone RSHD until after we are dead. Conclusion, we are asking that you deny the request to change the zoning status of the property located at 4501 Sheraton Road from RSHD to NC. It is our understanding that the owner wants to establish a convenience store to some type of Section 2696 states that to make such a change, there must be a desire and need by the residents. The residents of Eastway Park do not want nor need a convenience store located inside our residential subdivision. And then it's referring to, says, please see the attached of the list of residents opposing any changes of zoning from RSHD to neighborhood commercial. And I believe that that information was forwarded as well. All right. And then we have a comment from Daisy and Cynthia Lockridge at 4508 Sheraton Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29209. So we are opposed to converting the adjacent property, 4501 Sheraton Road, into a commercial property. The community of Eastway Park has been our home for over 50 years. To outsiders, it is just another African-American community. To us, it is so much more. Our community is made up of neighbors, friends, and family. It is a place where first, second, and now third generations have called home. My mother and I often sit on our porch and regularly enjoy our community and neighbors. It is where we watch children play, where previous generations of children have played. It is a precious gift in Daisy's legacy. It is the gathering place on festive occasions and a haven in times of trouble. It is the love and quiet enjoyment of our neighborhood that makes all this possible. Today, our quiet enjoyment is threatened. It is threatened by non-Indigenous homeowners who want to change the fabric of our neighborhood. We do not want to live next door to a commercial property, nor do we want a commercial property in our community. It is a safety concern living next door and a safety concern for the entire neighborhood. This will bring constant traffic flow of strangers to our doorstep and into the neighborhood. We also perceive this action as the beginning of the gentrification of the community. Finally, envision yourself on your front porch, enjoying a peaceful afternoon with your family. Imagine your neighbor of 40 years walk over to talk to you as you watch your grandchildren play where your children once played. Envision a peaceful Saturday afternoon. Did you envision a place where anybody would want to live? Now envision that you have to look next door and see a commercial establishment where strangers frequent. Now you can no longer sit in quiet enjoyment and are constantly worried about safety. Would you want to live this way? We are opposed to converting this property from residential to commercial and request that permission is not granted to allow 4501 Sheraton Road to convert to a commercial establishment. All right, and then our next letters, I, Alvin Champ Smith, opposed the rezoning at 4501 Sheraton Road to NC, which is across the street from me. I have lived here over 60 years and have no problems. Our neighborhood does not need any type of stores or any businesses. This change will bring down the value of our property. Furthermore, it would bring all types of people to loiter around our neighborhood. Or loiter in our neighborhood. We have people who are elderly living here. The extra foot traffic and loitering into the neighborhood would be really bad and scary for them. Please consider not changing the rezoning policy for 4501 Sheraton Road. Alvin Champ Smith, 4505 Sheraton Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29209. And that is the last of the opposition comments. And then, of course, in the comments that were emailed directly, there's also the opposition petition that was signed as well. I believe it's 5 pages of that.
Okay, did all commissioners receive the email notification of the additional comments?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I did not.
Okay. Mr. Dennis did not.
I did not as of noon today.
Okay.
Yeah, it came at like 2:30.
Yeah, it was kind of late this afternoon, which is why I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to see those. while Mr. Dennis is checking on that, are there any additional comments for the staff on this case?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioners,
Well, I have a quick question for staff. So the conservation land use designation, does that encompass the entire subdivision? Or is it just that it's on the south side of Bluff Road that it got picked up?
It
Like-
encompasses, sorry, Joe.
No, go ahead, Mr. Cooks.
Ms. Carnes, so it does encompass that entire subdivision. So we use Bluff Road as that dividing line between conservation and then on the other side being the economic development corridor center, future land use designation. And so on that south side of Bluff Road, that would fall within the conservation future land use designation.
Being that it's a subdivision, it sounds a little bit of a misfit to say because the future use is conservation. Clearly the future use for this area is residential because that's what it is. And unless the whole neighborhood gets taken out, which I don't see. But, I don't therefore support the rezoning request, but it just seems like a bit of a misfit for the rationale. It's also interesting that there's also the zoning that they're asking right there. It just happens to be vacant property.
Yeah.
So, any other comments or questions from anybody?
okay, thank you, Ms. Kearns. Any additional comments from commissioners?
I did get the email at 2:27, 30 minutes prior to this meeting.
All right. Thank you, Brother Dennis. Brother Mr. Branham, did you have comment to make?
Yeah, I just was gonna say, I drove out there yesterday and sure enough, the house right next to the parcel in question, this is in a cold rain. You had residents sitting under the carport facing that direction, facing that house. So the imagery that was described by some of the communications from the residents sounded very realistic. To me, that Eastway Drive is a natural, whatever you want to call it, informal demarcation or place of designation as far as that neighborhood. It is, from what I could see, fully developed, full blocks, fully developed residential. I have a really hard time just thinking in the context that this is an appropriate way to start nibbling away at residential blocks by allowing some sort of a commercial enterprise on that side of Eastway Drive in particular.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Branham. Any additional comments on this case? Chair will entertain a motion on case number 20-041MA. Any motions?
And I'll go ahead and make a motion that we send case number 20-041MA for the council with a recommendation of disapproval. The reasons mostly, being part of what staff says, but also just that this is a lot within an established residential neighborhood. And, there's nearby property that's already zoned for the use. So if there's a market force that's already there. So I just think that, just as Mr. Branham offered, there's no need to go into this neighborhood and rezone property commercial.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Then moved and properly seconded by, I believe, Mrs. Frierson and Mr. Dennis. Any additional comments? One comment I would just like to ask the staff to make a notation of, and that is both Ms. Carnes and Mr. Branham's comments regarding this particular, even though they're supporting the recommendation of the staff, please note those comments, because I think those comments are very relevant to this particular case in light of the additional findings that the commissioners raised.
Yes, sir.
All right. So it's been moved and properly second that we send case number 20-041 1MA forward to council with recommendation of disapproval. All in favor signify by a roll call vote.
Okay, Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Aye.
Yonke,
Aye.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Branham,
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, and the motion carries. And again, we are a recommending body to county council, and they will meet to discuss this case on February 23rd. And Mr. Price, are they still meeting by Zoom?
yes, sir.
Okay, so they will meet by Zoom on that date. So for those that are participating via Zoom, please feel free to participate again at that time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, Mr. Gilchrist, I may kind of chime in. For those who will be submitting comments for county council, they would have those in by 12 p.m. on the 22nd.
Okay. Thank you. Come note of that.
Good.
All right, very good.
All right, our next item. Okay, our next item is case 20-042 MA. The applicant is Jita Tapara. The location is on the corner of Sloan Road and Dora Leachley Lane. The applicant is requesting to rezone 6.2 acres from RSMD, which is single family or residential single family medium density, to RMMD, which is residential multifamily medium density. Staff recommends approval of this request, and that was based on the recommendations of the comprehensive plan that a desired development pattern of medium density residential neighborhoods designed to provide a mix of residential uses and densities within neighborhoods. The proposed rezoning to RMMD would allow for a mixture of housing types and densities as prescribed by the comprehensive plan.
Okay, any questions for the staff? We do have persons signed to speak for this or comment on this case, Ms. Price?
Yes, we do.
Okay. We'll start with the applicant and then transition to those that are in support or opposition.
And Mr. Chairman, we just have a letter in opposition to the request. All right, and that letter is from Charles L. Dowie at 125 Dorchley Road, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223. It says, in reference to case number 2042 MA, I am writing to oppose the rezoning of the property to multifamily use. These changes would devalue my single-family property along with my neighbors' investments as well. I hope this opposition will have some impact on decisions made concerning the area. Sincerely, Charles L. Dowie, owner and resident, 125 Dorchley Road.
Okay.
That's the last one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, that's all we have signed up for this particular map amendment. Are there any additional comments for the staff?
I have a question. I mean, Gio, can you just, so it's already zoned RSMD, now it's proposals RMMD. What exactly does that bring in additional options?
Bryce?
You're silent on us, Gio.
I apologize, I was on mute. It provides for a variety of housing types, from single family detached to two family attached to multifamily also. And it which would include, potentially triplexes and what we may deem apartments.
Okay, so as it currently is zoned, it allows a lot of density, but they have to be single family units.
Yes, correct. Under the current zoning of RS MD, that zoning doesn't, that density for that district is 5.21 units per acre. But you're correct, they would have to be single family detached.
But I mean,
Units.
so under the RMMDs, it's still 5.2 per acre?
Under the RMMD, it is actually 8 units per acre.
Okay.
Could I ask a question, Chair?
Sure, Mr. Brennan.
So on page 10, under the land use and design for the comprehensive plan and the designation description for this medium density neighborhood, kind of midway through the paragraph, the statement is made, multifamily development should occur near activity centers and within priority investment areas with access to roadways with adequate capacity and multimodal transportation options. If the zoning is approved for multifamily, I mean, is there any further check on the potential for multifamily development? Because I'm just questioning whether this parcel would qualify as being located near an activity center and within priority investment areas. So if we approve it, I mean, can they go as dense as they want and with whatever type of, I guess, permitted residence or structure type that they want to? Or is there a potential for staff to say, this doesn't meet all the parameters for multifamily and therefore multifamily will not be permitted?
Well, no, sir. Just to talk, to answer your second point, no, sir. Once the zoning is in place, it is permitted use regardless. So there will be no additional reviews by staff to determine whether it's appropriate at that location.
That help, Mr. Brennan?
It does. So I'd love to hear the commission's thoughts on, you know, whether they feel like this location qualifies for those parameters.
Any additional thoughts from the commission?
You know, I live up in the Northeast and I know exactly where that's at. And, you know, if you're putting in, you know, multiplex units, it's off hard scrabble. It's set back off hard scrabble on the Sloan Road. And Sloan just is a mess of a road as it is. I understand that, you know, the SC dot says we're under capacity on it, but I can highly attest that we could go around and around with that. But, you know, not being next to a community center or area like that, I'm having a hard time really looking at it. I'm sitting here shaking my head, looking back and forth, trying to do things. I got the big book here that they give us when we become commissioner. I've been scratching my head with this one, and I don't see it in this area when everything else is single family houses. And the only thing they have is a Sand Hills Community Church up there. And I think that's a half a mile, quarter mile away. Other than that, it's all single family houses.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Crooks?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to comment briefly on this. So with this case, staff looked more so in particular at the desired development pattern. So looking at more so providing the mix of uses and densities within a neighborhood. So allowing the plethora of uses that would provide, but still at that medium density character. So I just wanted to add that in as part of that rationale from staff.
If I could add, Mr. Chair.
Brennan? Yes, sir.
And traveling out there just yesterday, again, Dorichley Road is like a one-lane dirt road with really large residential lots on it that are all oriented so that they face this tract of land. And just the fact that it doesn't quite have direct access to Hardscrabble Road. Yeah, I feel like it's making it difficult to justify it further, but look forward to hearing from the rest of the commission more.
Thank you, Mr. Branham and Mr. Dennis. Any additional comments from commissioners? The chair will entertain a motion on this case. Case.
All right, Mr. Chair, if I could.
Yes, sir, Ms. Grady.
Comment.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just, I certainly sense some hesitation here. I'd like to sort of speak in favor of the proposal. You know, when I look at the land use map, we're looking at a county where we've decided that we're going to try to limit growth and development in large swaths of the county. And this is one of the few areas where the comprehensive plan speaks to, as Mr. Crooks articulated, a mixture of development types. Obviously, we don't want to say, you know, you can't build single family housing here, but I believe it's designed to have, you know, to have a mix, to have some single family, to have some missing middle housing. And, you know, I think it's entirely appropriate in a suburban area that's growing, that the county's plan has articulated should grow and develop, that there be apartment housing in that area. And, you know, we're looking at a situation where the county and the region are growing, and there needs to be development to support that, and development that supports a variety of different household types. So I would suggest that that we approve this request.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Any additional comments from commissioners? Very good discussion. I'm sorry.
This is Chris here. This is
Hey.
Chris Yonke here. Hi.
Okay, yes, sir.
I kind of feel the same way. If you're looking at the roads here, DOT does have a widening project going on for Hardscrabble and for Sloan. I'm looking at an aerial view map right now. It's, you know, in progress. And you take this area versus Two Notch Road that's already really built up, cramming more multifamily properties there. This area looks like it can handle that. Like has the infrastructure being put into place right now to handle more people. So it seems like a growing neighborhood.
Okay,
And traffic is going to come on and off of Sloan Road. The other street, Dorchley, that is a dirt road, but can't imagine that would be its main access way.
Yeah,
Okay.
I totally appreciate all the comments that commission members are making. This is great discussion. And it's, you know, I look at this, just again, looking at the county aerial photograph, and you've got a lot of density around this. And then you've got this little pocket that somehow is just, I guess, withstood the changes within the neighborhood. And I mean, I will be supporting this rezoning, largely for the reasons of what the other commission members have said in support of it. But it is sort of this interesting kind of left behind little spot of not yet developed.
Right.
But I mean, we are a community in growth, and I do think the promotion of variety of housing types is good. You know, that not everything go to single family housing, that there be some options in housing types.
Thank you, Ms. Carnes. Are there any other comments? Great discussion today on this case. If not, the chair will entertain a motion for case number 20-042 MA.
I'll make a motion that we send case 20-042 MA forward to council with a recommendation of approval.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I think that was Mr. Yonke.
Yes, sir.
Very good. It's been moved and properly second that we send case number 20-042 MA forward to council with recommendation of approval. All in favor signify by roll call vote. Ms. Price. Mr. Price.
Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Aye.
Yonke,
Aye.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Dennis,
Nay.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Branham,
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes 8-1.
Okay. And for those that are watching, again, we are a recommending body to County Council, and they will meet back on the 23rd of this month to make a determination on this case. So thank you very much for tuning in and joining us. And commissioners, thank you for very not only a healthy conversation, but very good perspectives about this particular case. Moving on to the next case, Ms. Price.
Yes, sir. The next item is case 20-043 MA. The applicant is Jeff Baker, and the applicant, the location is 1630 and 1636 Leesburg Road. The applicant is asking to rezone 0.8 of an acre from neighborhood commercial to general commercial. Staff recommends approval of this request. We feel it's consistent with the objectives outlined in the comprehensive plan. According to the comprehensive plan, non-residential development should consist of neighborhood scale, commercial scale development designed in a traditional neighborhood format. Also, the request is consistent with the character of the existing commercial development pattern and zoning districts along Leesburg Road. Again, for these reasons, staff recommends approval.
Okay, any comments for the staff?
Just question, Gio. Sorry to always put you on the spot, but okay, so it's now neighborhood commercial, it's going to general commercial. What exactly does that add into the options?
Neighborhood commercial, they have limitations on the square footage. So in the neighborhood commercial, the maximum square footage is 6,000 for the footprint, 12,000 total. So essentially, if you do a two-story building, you can have up to 12,000 square feet. There are also some limitations as far as drive-throughs within those areas. And essentially, the main difference, what we, to kind of give a summary of it, is that the neighborhood commercial prevents the big boxes from coming in that the general commercial would allow.
There's got to be, but these are little lots, so I don't think you're going to get big box. So it must, and is it gas stations is another difference?
No, actually a convenience store or gas pumps, those are allowed in both zoning designations.
So it's the drive-through and the footprint.
Yes, mostly it's the footprint. I think we've actually, historically, we've had some some uses come in before the planning commission and also county council where neighborhood commercial probably would have allowed the use. However, the limitations on the square footage call for them to rezone to a general commercial. And typically, we find that with a lot of the Family Dollars or Dollar Generals that would come in, where the 6,000 square foot just didn't work for them, so they would have to go to another zoning designation.
So is this something that just, I think we've had this a couple times on Leesburg, and I see more and more of these coming on Leesburg Road. Do we just have it would make, from what I can see right now, it looks as if this should be a reasonable, easy rezoning. I'm just kind of fearing like what, neighborhood commercial has to have some use. But is Leesburg just simply become a non-neighborhood commercial area? Probably. Curious other people's thoughts.
Any additional comments from commissioners? Ms. Price, do we have people signed up to comment on this particular case?
Yes, sir. We have a comment submitted from the applicant, and we also have one in opposition.
Okay. Do we have any additional comments from the commission at this time?
Looking at it, sorry, this is Dennis. Looking at it, pretty much everything around there when I drove down through there is, general commercial mixed with neighborhood commercial. And I think it's just them going down for that footprint of what they're wanting in there. Some of those areas really kind of surprised me with what's in there versus, what the zoning was. I mean, everything looked to fit, but I think, they're just looking to open up the market a little bit more for them, possibly to do something different. And I'm sure we're about to find that out in the comments.
Absolutely. Any additional comments from commissioners? Okay, we'll hear from the applicant.
All right, Mr. Chairman, this is from Jeff Baker, the applicant. He's at 1 Harmon Road, Hopkins, South Carolina, 29061. So my name is Jeff Baker, and I am the son and power of attorney for my parents, Fred and Gladys Baker of Hopkins. My parents are the owners of 1636 and 1630 Leesburg Road. My parents have owned and operated Curls and Swirls Beauty Shop at 1636 Leesburg Road since the early 70s. Due to age, mom 87 and dad 93, and health issues, they decided to close the shop permanently last year when the COVID-19 shutdown was ordered by Governor McMaster. We have been trying to sell the properties together in hopes that a new business would come to the area and continue the growth of Eastern Richland County. We've had some interest in the properties for new business development. Due to the properties not being zoned as GC like other properties on Leesburg Road, the interested parties we not able to bring their new business in. It is my humble request on behalf of my parents, Fred and Gladys, that the two properties be rezoned from NC to GC so that we can bring more business opportunities to the Leesburg Road area. Thank you for your time and attention, Jeff Baker. And then we also had a comment in opposition. It says, Dear Planning and Zoning Commission, I received a letter stating that there is a request for a zoning change for the above property. After doing some research, I found that the request is to rezone for commercial and that is planned to put an automotive service company / tire and wheel service on the property. I own the property at 7013 Hilo, which shares a property line all along one side. My property is a residential home. I am strongly against any plans to put an automotive service company at this location. It would mean that my property would be subject to huge amounts of noise as well as odors emanating from the establishment, directly affecting the quality of life and property value of my property. Please inform me on any potential legal means of avoiding this change immediately. For any questions or comments, I can reach the email and address below. Kind regards, Thomas Merrifield. And that's the last comment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Lynch, thank you very much. Comments from the commission?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I'll just again add my experience. I lived on, watched, driven Leesburg Road my whole life. Went over and looked at the property yesterday. You have Curls and Swirls on the corner, and then next to it you have what looks like a totally abandoned residence, former residence perhaps. And then to the right of that, you have a building that has held at least one business of questionable reputation. You've had some really bad experiences happen there. Several crimes have taken place in that building. I'm really hopeful that maybe a rezoning would promote the redevelopment of these two tracts of land. I think the area as a whole would greatly benefit from redevelopment. The guy right behind the parcel, sure enough, he would be the person who would probably suffer the most if it is some sort of business of the nature that he described. I do not discount that or ignore that. But that area has just been, in my opinion, I think it's really struggled, and I would just hope that this sort of thing might help boost at least that block. And, you know, that is absolutely the impact that resident would experience is is what we would predict might happen when you happen to be a property owner who lives one lot away from a pretty major thoroughfare. So I'll just leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any additional comments from commissioners? If not, the chair will entertain a motion on this particular case.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go right ahead.
What happened?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Dennis, did you make a motion on that?
I said I'd like to, but then some weird noises came through my microphone or speakers, so I don't know what was going on.
Okay.
But yes, I want to make a motion. I would like to make a motion to send this to county council for approval as staff said, and also the comments that Mr. Commissioner Branham said. I think this would be a great chance to revitalize this area.
Absolutely. Any additional comments?
I'll second the motion.
Yeah.
All right. It's been moved and properly seconded then that we send case number 20-043 MA forward to council with a recommendation of approval. Any additional comments? All in favor signify by roll call vote. Ms. Price.
Okay, Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Aye.
Yonke,
Aye.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Branham,
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously.
Okay.
I'm gonna, sorry, Stephen, I'm gonna cut you off for a second. I'm gonna speak a little out of turn, and I think that what we have is a challenge, because Leesburg Road is the road that I agree with Mr. Branham that, you know, where it's heading and stuff, but I think it's gonna be the quality of our design requirements that are gonna make this type of rezoning and these types of corridors either positive or negative.
Right.
So I think that's where our challenge lies, is to make sure that we have design requirements that keep the proximity of retail and commercial and residential positive for all. That's all.
No, well noted comment, and it's so interesting that as we go through these cases like this, and we over the years talking about areas like Leesburg Road, Two Notch Road, and others, that is the comment you made is very consistent, and it's our hope that as we get this new plan, the rewrite, that it'll help to address some of these concerns. So comments well noted. Thank you both for those comments. All right, moving forward, next case.
Okay. Case 20-44 was under the consent agenda, and that was approved. So our next item is case 21-001 MA. The applicant, Richard Miskey and Brian C. Keene, are requesting to rezone from rural to RSLD, which is residential single family low density. Their parcels are 1.81 and 1.96 acres respectively. And the properties are located along Old Road. Staff recommends disapproval of this request, as we felt it was not in compliance with the recommendations or consistent with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan, as this area is located in the neighborhood medium density designation, and the zoning designations that that particular designation recommends are rural residential, and and RSE, which is single family estate. So the requested zoning designation did not fall within those categories. The staff made a recommendation of disapproval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Price. Are there any comments for the staff on this case?
Just quick question. So basically, and just the zoning that they're asking for is too dense than what not dense enough?
It would be too dense. So
Okay.
the request they're asking for, the single family low density has a density of 3.61 units per acre. And the other zoning designations that the comprehensive plan tends to recommend, rural 1.32 units per acre, rural residential is the same 1.32 units per acre, and the RSE, which is 2.2 units per acre.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. Mr. Price, any additional comments? Mr. Price, do we have any person signed up to speak on this case?
No.
The delays, do we have any?
No, sir, we don't, Mr. Chairman, we don't have any comments for or against.
Okay, all right. Any additional comments from the commissioners on this particular case?
I'm just amazed that there's no comments from the public.
And,
Yeah,
definitely not from the applicant. Yeah, Mr. Branham, go ahead.
Yeah, I drove out there. I don't live that far from that area. What's there is in perfect harmony with everything that's around it. Big old lots, houses and lots we all love to have on Lake Murray.
Yeah.
And to me, as I was staring down these lots on Old Road and thinking to myself, like, how did they stack these in here kind of like maybe sideways oriented? I don't know, going towards the lake. Whatever it was, I just thought to myself, it would be, I guess the word that came to my mind was like jarring. It would be kind of visually jarring. So it sounds like the plan, the comprehensive plan is appropriate as far as what it's looking to have out there. So state size lots and stuff like that be in harmony with the area. So that's where I'm leaning, but I do want to hear from the rest of the commission if there's discussion.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. Branham. Mr. Carnes?
I'm just that, I mean, I would think that medium density would usually, the comp plan concept of medium density, I think is consistent with RSLD. I mean, I'll let Gio correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not really, I mean, I think this is probably one of these areas where how many of the lots are really conforming to rural. I can see that the whole area is pretty much zone rural. But at the same time, I think I support the concept of disapproval because of the incongruousness with the rest of the neighborhood, which is pretty much built up. So Gio, am I wrong that RSLD would be incompatible with medium density in a generic setting?
Okay. This conversation we had. So I'm looking at the comprehensive plan under neighborhood medium density designation. And under that designation, the existing zoning districts of similar character to support the neighborhood medium density designation are RSLD, RSMD, MH, and a PDD. So that's what we based ours on. I think one of the things that you may have alluded to, hopefully I didn't miss what you were saying, but yeah, a number of the parcels out there already are non-conforming. And I believe, Ms. Carnes, as a former member of the Board of Zoning Appeals, you're aware of the number of cases that we would get from residents living up on the lake asking for variances due to the nonconformity of their lots. So
the materials from the county say that this area under the comp plan is designated as neighborhood low density, right? I mean, is that the discussion we're having here? It says it's supposed to be a transition from rural and neighborhood medium density.
That is correct. It should be neighborhood low density, Mr. Branham.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional comments, commissioners?
I mean, this,
Mr. Dennis, go right ahead, please.
this could go either way. I mean, a quarter mile up Old Road, you do have some actual RS low density areas, I'm pretty sure. Going up, and if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it's around Murray Point, if I'm not mistaken. And then I know there's some more up there, but I mean, we don't have any thing from the applicant. So, I mean, as it sits, I mean,
Yeah.
I got to go with staff.
Yep. Nothing from the applicant. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Any additional comments? Not chair will entertain a motion on case number 20-001MA.
Make a motion to send it to council with a recommendation of disapproval.
A second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we send case number 21-001MA forward to council. Recommendation of a disapproval. Any discussion? If not, chair will entertain roll call vote. Mr. Price.
Okay, Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Aye.
Yonke,
Aye.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Branham,
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Okay. A unanimous vote, and this will go to council with a recommendation of disapproval based upon the staff's recommendation. And again, we are a recommending body, and the council will take this matter up on the 23rd of February. So thank you very much. Moving right along. Next case.
The next case is case 21-002MA. The applicant is John Swistak. The applicant is requesting to rezone 2.6 acres from planned development, which is PDD, to residential multifamily high density, which is RM-HD. The property is located off of Rice Meadow Way. Staff recommends approval of this request, as the proposal rezoning would be consistent with the objectives outlined in the comprehensive plan for the mixed residential future land use designation.
Okay, any additional comments for the staff?
I have a question.
Mr. Branham? Yes, sir.
Under the current PDD designation, is multifamily permitted?
On other parts of the PDD, certain multifamily was designated within this PDD.
I wasn't
But
sure.
as part of the PDD, not only do you get to identify your uses, but you also designate where those uses will occur. And in this particular area, it was not designated for multifamily.
Okay, so presumably it's designated for single family residential? I was just wondering if it was already maybe zoned for multifamily medium density and they were just seeking a high density.
No, sir. Excuse me, allow me to pull that up. Yeah, that area was designated for commercial.
Thank you.
Price, I missed that. That area was designated for what?
Commercial.
Commercial, okay.
Yes, sir.
Any additional comments for the staff? Do we have a person signed up to comment on this particular case?
Yes, sir. I believe Mr. DeLage does have comments for this request.
Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We have one person in opposition, and it is Carolyn Kennedy, homeowner, 101 Cottonwood Way, Columbia, South Carolina, 29229. Dear sir, The area around Lee Road and Rice Meadow Way is already congested and overpopulated. Numerous car accidents has happened in this one area, and my property has been damaged on several occasions. Bumper to bumper traffic makes it difficult to get to and from work in the morning and evening. Excessive noise and speeding from cars is nerve-wracking daily. The roads are not able to handle the massive amount of people living here. Transportation wants to expand the roads and cut into my property to accommodate these wrongful situations. I'm requesting that this case not be approved for these reasons. This area is overpopulated with people. Putting up townhomes and bringing in more people will only make the present situation worse. Kind regards, Caroline Kennedy. And that's it for the comments, Mr. Chair.
No comments from the applicant?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's all we have commenting on the case. Are there any additional comments from the commission regarding this case?
I'm just say it's frustrating. We've got nothing from the applicant. And, you know, one of the things we're supposed to factor in is the need and justification. You know, otherwise I'm just left to like theorize a need and justification.
I agree.
I agree, and I'm looking at the map, and if this was part of a PDD, it was going to be developed into something, and all we know is that at one point it was going to be commercial, and now residential. Do I have that correctly? This wasn't going to be an empty lot. This was part of a planned development already. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Yankee. Are there any additional comments from commissioners?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir, Ms. Grady.
You know, I would submit that while the backstory is a little different, I think in terms of what the comprehensive plan and the future land use plan have to say, I think this falls in the same category as the previous request for multifamily zoning, also in the northeastern part of the county. You know, I think that I would be in favor of approving this. And again, there's a clearly demonstrated need for additional housing of a variety of different development types in the area.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Grady. Any additional comments from commissioners? Staff has recommended approval of this map amendment, so I will entertain a motion from commissioners on sending case number 21-002 MA forward to council with recommendation.
Someone gonna move?
Any motions?
And I'll make a motion to send this case 21-002 MA for the council with the recommendation of approval.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we send case number 21-002 MA forward to council with the recommendation of approval. All in favor signify by roll call vote. Mr. Price.
All right, Gilchrist.
Aye.
Carnes.
Aye.
Yankee.
Aye.
Carlisle.
Aye.
Dennis.
Aye.
Grady.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Branham.
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Okay, and the motion's carried. Again, for those that are listening, we are a recommending body and council will take this matter up again on February the 23rd. So thank you for joining us. Next case.
Yes, okay. Our last item is case 21-003 MA. The applicant is Walter L. McLaughlin Jr. And Mr. McLaughlin is requesting to rezone property zone rural to general commercial. It's a little bit, about a third of an acre. The property is located at 10400 Broad River Road. Staff recommends approval of this request as it is consistent with the objectives of the comprehensive plan, and it's also consistent with the character and existing commercial development pattern of the area.
Okay. Were you going to say something else, Mr. Price?
No, I was going to say that was it, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Are there any comments for Mr. Price or the staff?
If I could get a point of clarification,
Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
the references to Leesburg Road made in the parcel/area characteristics paragraph and the traffic characteristics paragraphs, I assume we can just switch those out for Broad River Road, and it's accurate, right?
Yes, sir. I see. Yes, sir.
And then if we would also delete the last sentence of the parcel/area characteristics. North and east of the site is a convenience store with pump zone GC. West of the site is a place of worship. That's not accurate. That should be deleted, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you for pointing that out.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Branham, for pointing that out. Any additional comments for the staff? Did we have somebody sign up to speak on this, comment on this, Gio?
Yes, sir. We have actually a letter, of course, that would be a support from the applicant, Mr. McLaughlin, and I believe his wife, Donna McLaughlin.
Okay. Please, go right ahead.
All right. My wife and I were to retire after fiscal year 2016 in preparation for what we found a qualified restaurant operation to take over our very desirable corner location with little effort. While beginning negotiations for the lease of the restaurant, we got the notice Richland County Penny Tax Program announced the widening of Broad River Road. The project illustration showed the removal of most of our parking lot, thus losing leasing opportunity for a grandfathered zoning situation of our property, as only use is that of a restaurant. No parking, no business, no lease. With my wife having health issues, we closed our restaurant in 2017, continuing to correspond with the PDT engineers. The project was to take and use our entire property, and we would be compensated for a relocation. As you know, shortly after the Broad River Road widening project, 2019 was approved. PDT was terminated and the project went back to the design board with the new in-house engineering staff with a new design which calls for scaling down the project, which might create an opportunity for us to rent our property for retail that would require less parking. Our rezoning request would enable us to offer our building to different business options. We appreciate your consideration, Donna and Walter McLaughlin. And that's the last comment.
Okay. I appreciated the applicant's perspective about this case. Any additional comments from the commission?
I think, I mean, I look at the, we get so many of these, because obviously it had been a non-conforming in use, could have continued under grandfather. And I think this is one of the nice opportunities that we get to sort of pull it into proper zoning and have it be consistent with the comp plan. So sort of not something we see all the time, but I think that, approval of this is completely consistent with everything that we want to accomplish in the county.
Correct.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I feel the same way. Again, just live over in that area and to hear how this played out, being impacted by the plans to widen Broad River and then the plan changing and having such an impact on that permitted the continuing use. I agree with what Ms. Carnes said, and the residents of this area are accustomed to that corner being a commercial enterprise, a restaurant, as it were, right next to it, tire repair shop. So again, I'm in support, but I do want to hear from the rest of the commission if there's more to be said before a motion is made.
Thank you, Mr. Branham and Ms. Carnes. Any additional comments from the commission?
I too agree with the staff recommendation, and I'm very pleased that this couple who initially faced disappointment and was kind of bounced back and forward by no fault of their own might have an opportunity to be restored if we vote for approval. This makes me happy if we vote that way.
Thank you, Ms. Frierson. Any additional comments from commissioners? If not, the chair will entertain a motion on case number 21-003 MA.
Yeah, I'll move to send it to council with the recommendation of approval.
I second. Second.
Okay, been moved and properly second that we send case number 21-003 MA forward to council recommendation of approval. Any additional comments? If not, chair, entertain a roll call vote, Ms. Price.
Okay, Gilchrist,
Aye.
Carnes,
Aye.
Yonke,
Aye.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Grady,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Branham,
Aye.
Frierson.
Aye.
Passes unanimously, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and again, we are a recommending body to county council, and they will meet on the February the 23rd to take this particular case up. So thank you very much to the public, and thank you, commissioners, for a very thorough conversation today on map amendments. Other business, discussion on opportunity zones, Mr. Price. I remembered we talked about this, and I think I thought we were going to discuss actually placing it on the agenda at some point where we can potentially have a larger conversation about it. Is the staff prepared to discuss this today?
No, sir. I think
Okay.
I think as we have discussed it, I know this was kind of put on as a placeholder for a while now to determine whether we were going to discuss this. But I think from staff's perspective, that any discussions on opportunity zones or creating those, it may be more appropriate for us to take up after the adoption of our code rewrite, and also after the map amendments, to take that up then, as opposed to trying to take that up at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I thought that's kind of what we had talked about. So, do we need to take action on deferring this item, or?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, then, under the chairman's report, two things real quick. Let me thank the commission again for entrusting in me to serve again as your chairman, and I look forward to serving you again and seeking your advice and consent as we continue to move forward in serving the people of this county. One of the things that I wanted to just mention as I listened to cases the last couple of times we've had our commission meetings via Zoom, is that we've had persons who are the applicants not submitting any testimony or any comments. And I think, Mr. Price, you shared with us about how that process, how the staff has kind of thought about requesting that applicants submit information. And I just want to remind us that particularly for cases where in some cases we need to hear thoughts from the applicant, that, that we encourage people to, those that are seeking some type of approval from the Planning Commission to try to submit at least some information to this commission in, as applicants, particularly with while we're doing this on Zoom, just so that we can have some better understanding of the applicant's perspective on some of these cases. And so I would just encourage the staff, if you can. I mean, I know that you know, sometimes that's tough to do, but I think it would certainly help help us to frame the conversations that we're having with as commissioners regarding these cases. And the only other thing that I'll just say to ask the staff is just get an update on where we are with the code rewrite. Are there any planned meetings coming up for any of that? Do we have a sense of timeline on where we're going with this? just any information that the staff may have. We're now, how long have we been working on this rewrite?
About 2 years.
2 years. So do we have any update from them about where we are? And
Mr. Chair,
are we getting close?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me
Yes,
okay?
sir.
All right, I just wanted
I
to
can hear you.
address that. We were, in case you are not aware, the Land Development Code rewrite was a significant topic at County Council's retreat this past week. And there were a lot of questions about timeline and the next steps. And essentially, and Clarion did a presentation, more of a brief overview. And so the timeline really is for us to begin reaching out to council members to discuss their individual districts and obtain input on the remapping as far as that goes, as well as to review textual text changes for submission back to the consultant. And so we anticipate bringing this back to you all in either your March or April meeting with a public review draft available. So the first step is really for us to meet individually with council members. But they asked several questions as you are asking now. And so a lot of that was addressed for them at their retreat as well.
Great, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for that update. And I'm glad to know that council was briefed on the rewrite. And so we'll certainly look forward to hearing more about that here in the not too distant future, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all I have on the chairman's report. Plan director's report.
I don't have anything else to report. You actually beat me to the punch because I was going to address that in my report. So.
All right. Well, great job. We killed two birds with one stone. That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good deal. If there's nothing else to claim the attention of this commission, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I got a few things.
Yep. Go right ahead, Mr. Dennis.
Yeah, since I've been on here, we've been talking about these opportunity zones and we keep kicking the can down the road. And I understand we're doing a rewrite and stuff like that, but I think we could go ahead and I think the next meeting, we really need to start talking about it, getting serious and kind of figuring out what we're going to do. So when that rewrite is done, we'll know where to go with it. I think we're wasting too much time, and before they're taken away from us, if that is the case for the future, I would rather try to help the council members get something on the books to help some of these areas. I really think we need to do that. As far as the voting of election officers go, I'm perfectly fine with that. I want to clarify my thing. Why I was the way I was with it is simply because I'm looking towards the future and I don't want to get caught without leadership. And I know you guys just do the meeting, but I think there is a learning curve there. And I really, really was looking forward to seeing the future and looking more into it instead of if something does happen and you guys are replaced, because I don't know what county council is going to do and we don't know. If they do something and they go, well, you know what, they didn't get it done in time, then I just didn't want to be caught out in the cold. You know, I really think that I think we need to come together a little bit more and kind of tighten down a few things for the future so we can all get a grasp of it. When are we going to do our next retreat?
That's a good point. Obviously, with COVID being front and center, that has delayed our ability to actually do our annual retreat. But, you know, my hope is that as soon as we get through the pandemic stuff, that we could potentially look at doing an in-person retreat. But I'm not opposed to us finding a way to potentially do something via Zoom. I mean, I don't like that, but it does give us at least an opportunity to have a conversation about some of the very things you point out, Dennis, and more specifically, thinking of being able to have a larger conversation about the terms on the Planning Commission, because one of the things that's happened in the past with regard to leadership and which has always been a hallmark of any board, has been the need to have staggered terms. And of course, with that, it should create an environment where we have capacity on the commission, people who've been on the commission for quite some time, that would, would still be able to offer some level of leadership if in fact something occurs with regard to a sudden leadership change. And so, obviously we want to keep that in mind, and we we're grateful. It'd be great to get some idea, and staff might be able to submit this to us, because periodically we would often get a document laying out exactly when everybody's term is up. And that might be very helpful to have, just so that we can see not only whose term will be up when, but also who's been on the commission long enough to be able to provide that type of leadership capacity if in fact we happen to end up in a situation where we need to fulfill a leadership void immediately. And so I would ask staff, if you will, to send that around to all of the commissioners so that we can have that. But, I welcome an opportunity to hear from the commission on your thoughts about a retreat. The retreats have always been helpful and very encouraging. And, it's something that we started a couple of years ago, and it's worked very well. And I would love to be able to find a way for us to continue that real soon, Mr. Dennis. Thank you for bringing that up, for sure.
Mr. Chairperson, I agree with you that ideally a retreat should be an in-person experience, and I would hold out that we still do that. However, in the interim, what might be helpful is that we do schedule additional training, especially in terms of orientation and just the basics for our newer members, and refresher courses for those of us who've served a long time, if we would so like to participate.
Sure, and that brings up another point, Mr. Price. Does the association still provide training opportunities for commission members?
Yes, they do. And we're on the lookout for those. And if anything comes up, we'll be sure and send out reminders as we've done in the past. That we'll go ahead and start looking again as we get into this new year, and also make contact with them to see what other trainings they may be looking to offer to not only the planning commission, but other boards and commissions throughout the county.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. That training is often very helpful and very good and very detailed. And if commissioners have the opportunity to participate, I would encourage any of you and all of us to do that, because it's very, very good. And I've learned a lot when I've had the opportunity to participate in the past. So thanks for that update. Any additional comments from the commission?
Oops, one more comment. In addition to required training, I remember there was a time when additional training was offered that was not required, and I tried to participate in that as well, and that's magnificent. So I just want to invite all of you to take advantage of as much training as possible. It's very helpful.
Thank you, Ms. Fries. And just to button that up, we do have a very new commission with a lot of new people, and this is a lot to consume, particularly in the midst of going through a code rewrite. And so, this is the opportunity for all of us to exercise as much, opportunity as we can for any type of training opportunities that will present themselves. COVID has certainly placed a monkey wrench in some of that, but the council will probably be yielding to us quite a bit. And I'm glad to know that they had a lot of questions about the code rewrite, and that the staff will be meeting with them individually. I think that's a good thing. And I'm hoping that they will have more input into what some of that will look like as we move forward. And Mr. Dennis, thank you also for the comment regarding opportunity zones. I too don't want that to be a missed opportunity in the county. No pun intended. But I agree that I don't think that needs to be a missed opportunity, and to the degree that we can make sure that's included. Very similar to what other counties have done. We're not the only county that's looked at this, or the only municipality. There are municipalities in the state and around the country that have looked at this, and they've not made it as not that cumbersome. And so, I would encourage staff, as you're thinking about this, to continue to look at Charleston and some of the other places where they've just allowed that to be a tool that could be used in their arsenal for potential development and other opportunities within the county. So thank you for that. Any additional comments? If not,
well,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chair, yeah, I would like to say, again, as I don't think any of us really knew how long we were going to be doing, Zoom meetings as such. And I know y'all did express some concerns about what you're actually getting from the applicant. So I think as a staff, we touched on this previously. I think what we'll do is we'll kind of get together again and maybe look at revamping our applications again. And I'll speak to Mr. Branham and Ms. Carnes, who've previously served on the Board of Zoning Appeals for the county. And as you kind of remember, any application that went before the board, whether it be a variance or a special exception or even an administrative appeal, really the applicant really had to be specific on a number of issues that they were, bringing before the body before it even got there. It wasn't pretty much fill out a quick application and then just verbalize what it is you wanted, because a lot of the information needed to be provided prior to. So that might be something what we can look at on our applications and maybe make some amendments so that we can, put that information on there. And you as a planning commission will have that prior to the meeting, because, I think what we've discussed before is, a lot of times applicants can bring before you what it is they're looking to do. But a lot of times those are just specific to a use. And then being that you're not similar to the Board of Zoning and Appeals, where they look at a particular use, you'll have a zoning and everything that goes along with it. I believe a lot of that information can be outlined on that application, in lieu of them having to come before you and speak specifically about their request.
That's good. And thank you for taking that on as a project. We certainly need to do that, particularly in these times. And hopefully, we don't have to endure this long term, but we need to be prepared. And certainly we need to make sure that the applicants recognize that so that we can be fair in our deliberations with everyone. So thank you for that. Any additional comments? If not, the chair entertaining a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second.
All right, everybody. Have a good week and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.